Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Today I'm coming to y'all. I just couldn't sit on this. It sort of goes along with what I've been talking about bullying the whole time. So I definitely had to bring this story to y'all. And it's about 47 deputies had their guns and arrest power strict after they failed the psychological exam. And I was like, wow, this was in Alamance County in Northern California. This needs to hit everybody police station. I was like, this is phenomenal. All police officers need to take the exam. I don't know who's been taking them, who hasn't been taking them. But I feel everybody that's on the police force should take the exam. So right now, what I want to do is play a video. One of the other creators had done, and I'm going to actually use this video. And we're going to get more into this because I was like, this is amazing. And I just wanted to share it with y'all. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to widen this out.
Issues. And now there is actually some data to support that coming from Alameda County in California. It's a law enforcement office that has more than 1,000 officers. And here, in fact, was put up the picture of the Alameda County Sheriff, Gregory Ahern. He decided to conduct a test, essentially, to evaluate the mental health of all of his employees. And here's what he found. The Alameda County Sheriff's Office in Northern California has stripped 47 deputies of their guns and arrest powers because they failed psychological exams. It was reported Monday. It was horrible to have to read the deputies of their duties. Lieutenant Ray Kelly told KTUTV the station obtained a copy of the letter notifying the deputies of their change of status last Friday. The deputies will still receive their pay and benefits. The move came after the sheriff's office conducted an internal audit. Psychological examinations from January 2016 to the present. The letter from Sheriff Gregory Ahern notified a deputy whose name was blacked out in the copy that the deputy had been graded a D, not suited in a psychological evaluation, and under state law could not serve as a peace officer. The letter said the sheriff's office had previously been operating under incorrect advice received several years ago from the California Commission on Peace Officer Standards and Training, which said it could hire candidates who receive such a rating. Ahern said the deputy can be hired if a second examination declares them suitable, and the office intends to schedule an appointment for such an exam. The Associated Press reports our intention is to resolve this issue as quickly as possible, Ahern wrote. We also intend to have you return to fully duty status once you obtain a suitable finding. Kelly said he hoped the retest would occur in the next 2 months. The test will be conducted by a psychologist who does not work for the sheriff. Well, there's one more aspect to all of this, which is interesting, and that Kelly said the audit followed the arrest earlier this month of former deputy Devin Williams Jr., age 24. Williams was charged with fatally shooting a couple in their Dublin home on September 7th. Williams' mother, Anna Williams, told KTUTV that her son had been in a romantic relationship with a woman, Maria Tran, and had believed she was unmarried. Sources say Williams gained entry into the Dublin home just a little bit before midnight on September 7th and headed upstairs to the master bedroom where 42-year-old Maria Tran lived with her husband, Benson. What followed was a life-or-death struggle in which the 24-year-old deputy tumbled down a staircase before allegedly executing the couple with his service pistol. KTUTV said 4 sources said Williams had failed his psychological exam, although Kelly previously said Williams, who was hired in September 2021, had passed all psychological tests. The Elevator Center for Human Rights in Oakland, a nonprofit that deals with race and criminal justice issues, accused the sheriff's deputy of previously turning a blind eye to the problem of unsuited deputies. This further highlights the egregious levels of dysfunction and corruption that have plagued the sheriff's office for years, the center's organizing director, Jose Bernal, said in a statement. Again, when you're talking about 46, 47 sworn officers who are found to not be psychologically competent, if I'm doing the math, Dan, that's about 4% of the entire force. I would have predicted that a higher number would fail in terms of psychological and mental health, but I suppose good for the sheriff that he's trying to figure out who the bad apples are.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder what the metrics were in that case and what the metrics were in that test. Was it one of those, like, I was joking with one of my friends how the No Child Left Behind test was one of the easiest tests ever. And maybe it was one of those simple ones. But for folks to understand, like, as people are getting priced out of San Francisco, which is its own county, Alameda County, which surrounds the Bay Area and other cities that are around that, you know, Oakland, Berkeley, etc., is a major player here, and it's where a lot of people are living. If people don't have faith in their police force, they don't have faith that their officers are competent mentally to be able to just solve those crimes, then not only are you going to have a lack of trust, it's going to make it harder for officers to do what allegedly they're getting taxpayer money to do, but they are going to end up having moments of lapses of judgment where they put people's lives in danger, and they do just idiotic things like what happened in the story here.
Well, and also what happened here, which is interesting, is on the one hand, the sheriff, Ahern's getting some credit for actually doing this test, but on the other hand, he's not telling anybody if this one officer who executed this couple, if Deputy Devin Williams had actually passed or failed the test. And maybe there's some personnel or criminal issues related to that, but you would think, okay, well, let's determine it's not enough just to test people if you're not going to use the test results to actually stop certain people. I mean, now he's stripping 47 officers from their guns and whatnot. But again, I mean, where was this effort to try to strip dangerous officers before Deputy Williams went crazy and shot this couple?
Exactly. It's where America is just the country of Band-Aid solutions. We always do, oh, wow, there's like 3 gunshot wounds. Let's get a Band-Aid here. That's how we do our policy. That's how we do everything top to bottom. But that is enough to say, okay, now we're going to do what we should have done a long time ago. This has to be a procedure from the bottom up that happens yesterday. And we need to hold all of our police forces in major cities and even smaller cities where all this stuff gets underreported. They all need to be held accountable.
And I would say accountable not just for their mental health, but also for their knowledge of the Constitution. We do videos all the time on Rebel HQ where I do stuff where basically you have so many police officers out there, even the ones who are mentally stable, who just don't know the Constitution and think that if their feelings get hurt, if somebody disrespects them, well, then that gives them the right to go ahead and ask, okay, give me your ID. Where if somebody has not committed a crime or there's not reasonable articulable suspicion that somebody's committed a crime, citizens are under no obligation to give an officer an ID or answer their questions. A police officer can ask, and a lot of us who don't know our rights may just respond because we're going to be polite, but every citizen has the right who has not committed a crime to say to an officer, I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to provide my ID. And if an officer doesn't like it, too bad. And oh, by the way, the courts have also ruled that if we want to drive along and give an officer the finger or yell F you, that's protected speech. And an officer has to hold it together, keep his feelings in check, and not react to it. But the problem is we have so many officers who I think are not in this because they want to uphold constitutional rights. They're in it because they're on a power trip. They want to dominate and control people. So anyway, final thoughts?
No, I think you make a lot of good points there. It's all about control and having power over people. And we need to make sure that people like that who are in it for those reasons are as far away from the lethal weapons as possible.
And there is a connection between people who would have used lethal weapons, who have issues of narcissism and power, as Dan pointed out, and who get to that area of not being able to pass a psychological test.
Wow. So now y'all get to hear my thoughts about this. I could not go to sleep without touching on this subject. I was just, I don't know. I got a sense of the public needs to know. When I see so many people being bullied, police officers bullying people, whether they're kids, they're teenagers, They don't care whether you black, white, orange, purple. We all are subject to be bullied by the police. I'll say that again. We all, because they don't care about your race. I've seen it go all the way around. And when they don't care, we are all subject to be bullied. Um, and this just got me. I'm like, 47 officers was put on leave because you scored a D. A D to me is like a F. You need to repeat. You just, oh my God. When I was in college, if I got a D in the class, I had to repeat the class. So if you're making a D on the psychological exam, you don't need to be on force. I'm just sorry. You're not qualified for this job. I feel like if you shoot somebody, you should automatically have to go through another psych exam. I don't know if everybody is taking this psych exam. Of course not, because you wouldn't have got 47. They probably failed the exam in the beginning. I wouldn't even allow my kids to bring a D home. So how are you on our police force with a D? We don't do Ds. I remember my daughter, and I challenged her all through her life. I said, and she would go to school and she would say, she had one teacher that challenged her. She said, my mama said we don't bring D's home. And the teacher said, well, I'm going to give you a D. And I was hot. I'm one of these parents. I'm going to the school. I'm getting involved. I want you to know who I am. I want to know the principal. I want to know all her teachers. If you got a problem with my child, you can call me. We're going to work it out. If she's struggling in the subject, can you do before school or after school tutoring? If you can't, I'm going to find somebody that could tutor her, because it's been many times I've had to go to the church. And it was all the way across town to get tutoring because I didn't know how to do her work. If I don't know how to help you, I got to find somebody that can help you. It's okay if we as parents don't know how to do it, but it's our job to make sure they get it. So if we got to go out and search for somebody that can help our children, that's our responsibility to make sure our child get the best education possible. So she had one teacher, she said, well, I'm going to give you a D, not that you earned the D. And I thought it was a racial issue. So I went to the school and I sat in there and I'm like, well, my daughter told you correctly, we don't bring D's home in my house. So that means she's struggling with the subject. So what do we need to do? That was my thing. It wasn't nothing harsh. I just needed to know we don't do D's in my house. And so it was funny because the teacher was running around and she's grabbing all her papers and I'm like, after about 5 minutes sitting there, she didn't know what to do because she wasn't looking for me to pop up at school at the end of the day to just say, this is my daughter report card and you gave her a D and this is the only D on her report card. So I need to know what's going on. What do we need to do? And after she ran around and like a chicken with her head cut off, I said, ma'am, can you just calm down? Can you just please calm down? I say, my daughter told you correctly, we do not bring D's home. So do you need to tutor her in the mornings or do you provide tutoring in the evenings? Because we don't do D's. She's got to get this up. Evidently, something she does not understand. And so she said, well, I could tutor her in the evenings. I'm like, great. Just tell me what time I need to pick her up. Because she's struggling in your class. And if you can provide that extra 30 minutes or 30, 35 minutes they normally give them to show her what she's doing wrong so that she can pull her grades up, then that's beneficial. And she did that, and she came out of her class with the A or a B. But I'm just I'm one of these moms. I was at the school. I want to know what I'm going to PTA. I'm there. You know, they knew me. When my feet hit the grounds, they knew, there go Miss Howard. She coming to check on her child. she, she gonna make sure she's doing the right thing. And if she's wrong, I'm gonna correct her. But for a police officer, these are the people that we have in charge of us. And they are flunking the psych exam. And so many people are getting beat up and killed. And I'm like, okay, this is a lot of bullying on the force. I always would say that. Let me pull up my bullying. Bullying can be a boy or girl. It's when it comes to police, they want to be more in control. And when you find an officer that is bullying you instead of being respectful, I think respect goes both ways. If I'm nice and kind to you, then I'm sort of expecting you to me too, because I don't want to go to jail. I'm going to do what you ask me to do. So it's no need for any attitudes. But when you find police officer that bully people, as I see on videos, most of them have poor social skills, have a hard time getting along with people. They may not care about people, a lack of empathy. So if you got lack of empathy and you often are insecure and you bully others, a lot of times, like I said before, it's because they may have been bullied in high school or somewhere in school. I don't want to say everybody's been bullied or picked on in school. Some has gotten picked on more than others. Some people handle it well, but you find some people that want to get revenge and they want to be the bully. Most people that are bullies end up being that are victims. Let me repeat that. Most people that are victims in high school turn out to be bullies in their adulthood. Not everybody, but you got a lot of people. So when I see people bullying, the first thing come to my mind is what you bullied as a child. And now you want to be, it has turned, and now you're bullying other people and may not even be aware of what you're doing. Some people are aware, but you got some people that don't do people right, and they're not even aware of what they're doing. And that's why I say people can change if they see a need to change. But you got so many people that don't change. The reason they don't change is because they never see a need that they need to change. Basically saying, if I don't see that I need to change, I'm going to stay myself until I see a need that I need to do something different. So when you find people that are on the force, most police officers are great police officers. I've always said that. But you got a handful of rotten apples, and that's in everybody's job. I don't care where you go, it's a handful of rotten apples. You're going to find somebody, everybody could be great at their job, but you're going to have this little small 1 or 2 or 3 people over here doing the wrong thing. Those people need to be weeded out. Those people are probably the ones that are scoring the D's on the psych exam. You don't have any compassion for people, no remorse. No remorse. And those type of people need counseling themselves. They don't need to be on our police force. They just don't need to be on there. But what I will say is that the psych exam, let's talk about the psych exam. The psych exam is a screening designed to evaluate whether you can handle the stress that accompany a career in law enforcement. It helps law enforcement determine whether you can mentally handle the violence, the long work hours, and the shocking crime scenes. Most psychological exams you don't necessarily have to study for, but they are with psychologicals. For this police department to go in and evaluate some of their people, I thought he did a wonderful job. And then you find out some of the people you got out here being police are the ones that are caught up in the crimes. Instead of them, what do I want to say? Instead of the police officers reducing the tension in the air, they are the ones that are escalating it. Those might be the one with psychological issues. But if you are scored a D on an exam, you do not need to be over the citizens of anybody county. That means everybody needs to take a psych exam if they're going to be a police officer. Not just a couple people, but I feel like the whole department, if you're out working with citizens, you should take a psychological exam to see if you are mentally stable to deal with citizens and know how to treat everybody right and how to de-escalate a situation instead of bringing it to a level that somebody gets shot or somebody get the crap beat out of them. What a teenager got beat. Sometimes it happens and it's out of control. I put a video out where a teen was jumping on a police officer. That teen was wrong, and I'm like, well, what are we teaching our children? What are you teaching your children? They don't hit a police officer. They always show respect to a police officer. You comply. I want you to come home safely. That's what I've always taught my children. Let them be the one at wrong if they mistreat you. But I'd rather you come home alive than come home dead. I see it on both ends. But I will say I would like to see more police departments do psych evaluation on the police force to see who's qualified to be there and who's not. And I also would like to see, now this is just my opinion, if you are in a shooting, if you are caught into any dispute, if you got any complaints coming back on your record, maybe the first complaint be okay, but by the time you get to 3, you need a psych exam because you're working with our citizens out here. And if you mistreat one, and when you caught on that one, how many other people are you mistreating that has not reported it? I see things different. How many more people have you harassed, bullied, beat up, mistreated, stopped for the wrong reason? They hadn't done anything wrong, but you stop them anyway. Things escalate. I see so many people getting shot. Oh my God, too many people are getting killed. I think if somebody get killed, you should automatically take a psych exam. Because we need to know where your head is. And they want to say that all shootings are justified, but no, it's a lot of shootings ain't been justified. Police officers have been wrong. But then some psychological exams are supposed to be given before you even hired. So that means if you got a D, how did you get on the force? I mean, it's a lot of questions can come from this. You have 47 people have flunked. You either got a D or a F. To me, a D is just like a F. You got to repeat it. In college, you're going to repeat it. So if all our police officers are a portion of 25% of the police officers, 4%, a small number of the police officers got D's and F's on their psych exam, then everybody needs to be tested so you can weed them out because they may not need to be on the force. Especially if they are the ones that are out here shooting people for no reason. They're costing the city money, which boils back down to the taxpayers' money. I don't know. What do y'all think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Leave me some comments. I would love to hear what you got to say. Especially 47% failed the psych exam. What are your thoughts about it? I'm going to leave you with that. You know my thoughts. Let me know how you feel. Leave a comment, subscribe, hit my like button. And thank you for listening. And I really do appreciate y'all. I probably don't say it enough. I like what I do. I love this. And I love helping people. And so if I can say something to help somebody, that's what I'm here to do. And sometimes I just like to talk, probably. I'm just teasing. But have a great night. And I hope I would love to hear people comments on this. I'm not going to hold you, but I just wanted to bring this particular tape to everybody's attention. Just to see how people feel. Do you feel like more of our police officers need to take the psych exam? Let's see what they are mentally, if they are capable to be a police officer. Especially if they're the ones out here that are hurting people, children, or they are out here in confrontation with citizens. Maybe they are some of the ones and they need to eliminate them off the force. Maybe the force is not what they're called to do. And I've learned that all jobs we're not called to do. And if you're in a job and you know that's not what you're called to do, it's okay to say that. I'm not called. If you're afraid of African Americans and you're a police and you shaking like a leaf, you're not called to be a police officer because you're going to shoot the wrong person. A psychological test would have caught that you're afraid of black people. You're afraid, you're racist. Psychological tests need to catch that. If you're racist, you don't need to be on nobody police force. So definitely, I would say it over and over. More psych exams need to be given to our police officers. They need to do a psych exam to see if you're racist. Where your head at? Are you qualified to be a police officer or a sheriff? It goes both ways. Are they qualified to be sheriff? Because this was the sheriff department. So both of them pretty much are right there together. Police, sheriff, are you qualified? All right. And I'm going to end it for tonight. And I enjoyed this. And y'all have a great night. And thank you for listening. Good night.